My homosexuals. What a good day. Now, let me tell you, this is peak week. We are officially in the danger zone. And I have never been so excited because it has been a long year. You know, whoever's stuck around, whoever's actually been here for the long haul, we've been through it. You know, the injuries started, and I mean the chronic injuries, not like the, I pulled my low back a little bit, I'll be back in 2 days. I mean like the chronic injuries, you know, my wrist, my left and quad tendon, my low back, my rear delt, my pecs, the unfortunate ones that really, really took me out, you know. Those started back when I was still living in Florida. That's how long ago that was. This is the first time in this entire past year that I've, you know, successfully gotten onto a peak week and did not feel drained, did not feel unready, did not feel unsure, did not feel scared, you know? I simply just wanted to go in and do the absolute best that I could do according to the efforts that I put in up to this point. Now, don't get me wrong. This is, in my eyes, the strongest I've ever been. But I am not hitting any PRs right now. I'm getting damn close, but no PRs yet, you know? And it's not worth it at the moment, you know? I'm rebuilding my entire physique according to a new set of program and a new set of, not just the reps and sets and percentages, whatever, but a new set of principle, you know? Like really, really taking the technique for what it needs to be, maintaining my core as much as humanly possible instead of putting all of my strength into my main muscle groups, and just all together adhering to, I want to be able to leave the gym and feel just as good as when I went in as I'm leaving the end of the workout, you know? That used to be a consistent thing that always happened. I used to always leave the gym feeling just as good no matter how hard I went. Because back then, I didn't have a job. I didn't go to school. I would just wake up, you know, eat, sleep, lift heavy circles, and then do it all over again. And I could take as much pre-workout as I wanted. I could go whenever I want, go late at night, be hype as hell, not ever fatigued. And it's good in its own way, but at the same time, it's like I want to do other shit in my life. You know, it's not just the gym. And so I got to make sacrifices where they need to be. So now that I've rerouted the way that my training is going to go and the way that I want my core and my fatigue to build up in a specific way, I can have like a true hold onto how I progress, you know, an actual, a solid idea of what I want to do with this kind of a physique, you know, this kind of training in general. Because it was never just about the weights, but that was definitely a huge priority way long ago. And today, all of this has changed because the program officially has worked 100%. Because, yeah, let me just tell you, I failed 225 twice before hitting it on snatch, and I failed 245 once before hitting it. And I could not get 255 just because too much fatigue. You know, I was doing too many failed attempts. But regardless, the attempts were great, and I had the energy to do them. That's the whole idea. You know, you put in what you have earned and what you can actually build up from, rather than just throwing something that you know is going to kill you. But regardless of that, it's the fact that I can change the way I lift in the moment, change the way that my body catches that weight in that moment, and build upon it in that moment. That's one of the hardest things you can do as a lifter in any sport, is not just to change over time and learn after doing so many reps and so many sessions, but to, in that moment, miss a rep, know exactly why you missed it and what you need to lock in and just do it, you know? Especially in Olympic lifting, it's so hard to have that good of a mind-muscle connection, and I'm starting to finally graze that, you know, being able to truly just see it and be like, oh, I just got to do that, and then doing it, you know? It's not a question anymore. So I'm so proud of the attempts, and the 245 make was perfect. The only reason I went up was because of how good I caught it, you know? And today was to set the basis. You know, after a long year of being in chronic pain, and don't get me wrong, it's chronic. You know, the pain may not be there right now, but the injury that I sustained is forever. And that is no joke. You know, all the hard-hitting injuries I've had that collected over a long period of time, like my quad tendon especially, that's the big one. The moment I go too heavy on anything or fuck up my technique anywhere, it's going to hit that left quad tendon every single time. But the biggest thing is that I'm now at a point to where I can either stop myself or reroute the workout to work in a way to where it supports that knee rather than tanking it just for the sake of trying to hit a certain amount of weight, or a certain amount of reps. It's just not worth it, Overhead squat was nuts, man. Nuts. Because it's so weird. Like, just recently getting back into normal volume, like I used to be trying to do, and I'm already seeing exponential growth. I've never in my life put 3 plates over my head on an overhead squat, and I didn't make it. But I can tell you right now, it's simultaneously infuriating, but that's just in the moment. Because the moment I finish, I'm just like, dude, I know I'm gonna crush that next time, because I guarantee you I'm going to be able to squat that weight on the next cycle in the next program a month from now. I guarantee you I crushed that. Guaranteed. The only reason I didn't hit it, I had a really good push jerk, but it just moved too slow to when I locked out, I couldn't really stiffen my shoulders and elbows the way I needed them to be. And the moment I caught it, I could feel them starting to externally rotate, and that just is, if I injure myself because of the weight being too heavy, then what's the point in doing it? So I just left it there. The 235 moved beautifully. It was honestly the worst rep of the day, but just because I came out of the squat so damn fast, but it was still a good attempt, So I got to take that for how it is. It's the fact that I have this much excess strength and consistency, stamina, that's going to let me build up over time. Snatch pulls too. Normally my low back is a big contender when it comes to the snatch pull, especially my shoulders not being able to keep up with the rate that my butt and my low back is raising through the pull. I killed it today, 385 went beautifully because I really locked it in well, and I got a really high pull. That's the whole point. I've snatch pulled heavier than 385 before, but I say snatch pull, but it's more like a snatch shrug. I could not whip it at all. It was all main muscle group strength and not actual technique. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm actually focusing on getting it as high as I can and doing a genuine pull. And if I go up to 405, I'm not going to be able to pull it up any higher than I need to be doing for the sake of the technique and transitioning that into the snatch itself, because it's an accessory lift. So all in all, I'm learning. I'm learning very, very well. It's building so much quicker than I imagined. I'm finally hitting that sweet spot, When it comes to chronic pain, man, it's a different demon, because it's not. It is the most seemingly unfair injury you can have. Because at least this is my experience, this is not what everybody's going to go through. But in my experience, when you have a chronic injury that builds up over time, not something that happens in the moment because of either lack of technique or lack of strength or just a freak accident, but something like my quad tendon that just built up over the course of years of squatting slightly inefficiently until it finally took its toll. And that little bit of damage, there wasn't a tear. I don't even know if it pulled or whatever, if it was just a minor strain, but that tiny bit of damage to the tendon was enough to make it permanent, because our joints, tendons, bones, cartilage, whatever you want to call it, all of those smaller important spots is what our bodies are limited by in these heavy ass lifts. And the moment you hurt those, they are permanent forever. And so, especially because the quad tendon was like the first one that I really had to understand how to maintain all of the time, because there's not a workout where I don't come in and I'm doing the highest incline on the treadmill walking backwards. I have to, just for the security of knowing that my tendon is where I want it to be, because I have to meet the prerequisites of, okay, I feel this good, has this much mobility and strength behind it. Let's make sure that we take it rep by rep, because it can't be a thing where I just get into a workout, I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out when I get to the heaviest set. It's every single day is a battle of, will this rep go the way I want it to, the way I imagine it will. And if it does, then we can go up. Even if I plan it to be a heavy peak week day, it does not mean that it is an expectation, I want it to be, and I hope for the best that it can be, but realistically, it's not how it's going to go. Sometimes it cannot go that way, because whether you're limited by things like chronic pain like I am in this way, or just in general, the strength or technique isn't there yet, you have to take it easy sometimes. Even if it feels like a waste, it's got to be something that you can say that, okay, here's the basis. Here's the base of my pyramid. We'll build up to it next time better, stronger, more efficient, you know? That's all you can do. Because I've tripled 245 before. I've thrown that weight like it's fucking nothing. But that doesn't matter. Not anymore. The past is gone, man. The new standard is now. And I've never felt so confident just based off my fatigue, you know, being able to just jump back into it the way that I want to, based off my efforts and what I deserve because of these principles, you know, these standards that I'm holding myself to. Because I had so much freedom and less liability before I injured my knee a year ago that I could practically do whatever I want and not worry about it. Now I'm at a point where I gotta worry about it, you know, and that's okay. It makes me better. I may not be as strong just yet, but the exponential growth will be larger. The squats are already going heavier than they ever have before. I've never seen overhead squat and front squat move this way. And bench will follow real quick. Back squat will get back to it the moment my core locks in. Everything is going to build on top of itself extremely well. It's just giving it the time to, you know? Just like giving it the time for that chronic pain to become a normal. Because that's the saddest thing about chronic pain, a chronic injury, is that no matter what happens, it doesn't go away. You know? Right now I don't feel any pain. I may feel pain some days, but for the most part, I can maintain it. But the biggest thing that you have to understand is that it gets to a point where you have to accept that it is no longer a matter of getting back to your old self. This is what you have. This is what you have to work with. This is the new standard. Just like with my weights, with my programming, my quad tendon, I had to accept the fact that I basically had a bum knee and I had to work from the ground up no matter how long it took. And a year now doesn't feel as long, but in the moment, I'm not going to lie to you, no matter what happens, that initial 6 month to a year period that you're recovering is going to feel like the longest period of your life. There's no way around it. No matter how much I'll preach to you that it'll be worth it or that it'll feel like nothing, like such little time flew by in the meantime, it's going to hurt. You know, it's going to kick your ass no matter what you do, and that's the suckiest part, you know, because you've got to get through the shit to earn the right to be positive and productive again based off the numbers, you know? Because, sure, you could mess up your body and then come back in and just be like, oh, I'll just quit and I'll just do something else from now on and find something else to be passionate. That's fine, you know? But I am not gonna fucking quit just when I hit seemingly a huge roadblock, you know? It's twice as much a reason for me to get twice as much into it, you know? That's at least the way I see it. The more this sport pushes me back, the more I want to double back onto it, you know? I don't care if it's going to possibly lead to an injury in the future. People are just like, oh, Olympic weightlifting isn't really great for your body in the future if you do strength training. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Not because I don't care about my body, but because this is how passionate I am about it. This is one of the things that give me the most purpose. And not just because it's weightlifting on its own, but what I learned from it. How I can present myself in my typical daily life every day because of it. So I take this chronic pain. I take what I can from it, I learn from it, and I say, this is my standard, this is my max now, because that's what you have to do. You know, I mentioned it yesterday, there's a guy I know at the gym that is literally an amputee. This man does not have a leg, and he just said, fuck it, I'll just make this the new standard. He's still hitting new weights. It takes a toll sometimes, but you build it back up. You always can. You always can. As long as you adhere to what you are currently capable of and what you currently deserve for the effort and the positivity you put into your life, it'll come back. I promise you, that good karma's there. It'll hit you at some point, but you've got to let it, you know? You've got to accept that is what you deserve in that moment, no matter how unfair it appears, because then after that, all the positivity after will feel like so much more than you ever knew, you know? Because now that I've accepted my injuries for what they are, and I know what I do about them, I've learned so much from them, I can confidently say I am the best lifter I've ever been right now, no matter what the numbers say. Right now, I am the best lifter I've ever been for myself, you know? And the strength will follow after. It is an accessory to the passion. So physically, after all that bullshit, even though I wasn't where I exactly wanted to be per se, or as primed as I could have been, we're still doing great. You know, it's still really, really good. Got to take it for what it is. This is the new baseline. So even though it's not exactly where I thought I'd be, I really thought 255 to 265 could have been a possibility. But just I'm not ready, and that's fine. So we'll build it up next time. So the standard right now is 245. Next program, we will build up to 255, and then keep the recovery days how they've been, keep the back squat and bench press where they've been, and the growth will happen. You know, it'll be nice to actually have a change of having a specific weight I want to go for rather than just sending whatever feels okay. You know, I like a little bit of progressive overload. It feels nice, but everything moved extraordinarily well. So dude. I'll give it an 8.8. 8.85, more like. It wasn't an incredible day, you know? It could have been way better, but coulda, woulda, shoulda doesn't matter, you know? I put in the best I had, and the fact that I didn't even feel near my best on this day that I threw such good weights means that I have so much more room to grow in the future, and I love that. Mentally, oh man, I'll give it a 9.5, right in the middle. It was a great day. It's been great in general. I'm finally comfortable, you know? Not more than that, I'm confident. You know, I feel like I really know what I'm doing. And I want to continue that consistent progress, you know? It's okay if I plateau every now and then. It's still consistent as long as I hold true to the passion and the progress in the long term, you know? Because it will come. It's not a matter of when. It's not a matter of what if. It's a matter of when and am I going to put in the effort to deserve it, you know? When it gets there, when that opportunity arises. And the amount of support I've gotten from the community in general has been great, you know? So I got to take it for as good as it is because it's been so good. It's been so good to me. So I'm going to keep working the best I can, doing my thing. You know how it is. Great start to the peak week. I don't even feel that tired, and I went in tired. So I'll take it for what it is. Tomorrow is going to be a clean and jerk recovery accessory day. And then I'll do a heavy back squat single. You know, we get to actually fuck around this week and set a new standard for ourselves. So we'll see what happens. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, you know, hear me yap. It's been a long journey, but we're making some progress. You know, we're going to get there. So stick around if you want to. I'll always be here. I'm going to keep being consistent no matter what. Let me know how your lifts and lives have been going. Love hearing about it. And I will be back tomorrow. I love you guys. See you later. Bye.